Jared Kushner denied Monday that he colluded with Russians in the course of President Donald Trump's White House bid and declared he has nothing to hide. Behind closed doors, Kushner spoke to staff members of the House Intelligence Committee for nearly 3 hours at the Capitol, then made a brief public statement back at the White House. "Let me be very clear," he said. "I did not collude with Russia, nor do I know of anyone else in the campaign who did so." Trump took a new swipe at Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Monday, referring to him in a tweet as beleaguered and wondering why Sessions isn't digging into Hillary Clinton's alleged contacts with Russia. House Speaker Paul Ryan said Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who is investigating ties between the Trump campaign and Russia, isn't a biased participant in the probe. President Donald Trump's new communications chief says television cameras can start rolling again in the White House briefing room. Nothing to hide in an 11-page statement, released hours before the Capitol session. Senior White House advisor Kushner detailed 4 contacts with Russians during Trump's campaign and transition. It aimed to explain inconsistencies and omissions in a security clearance form that have invited public scrutiny. In the statement, Kushner said that none of his contacts, which included meetings at Trump Tower with the Russian ambassador and a Russian lawyer, was improper. Kushner arrived Monday morning at a Senate office building, exiting a black sport utility vehicle and greeting photographers with a grin and a wave. When he left, he responded to shouted questions, saying the interview went great. In speaking to Congress, Kushner, as both the president's son-in-law and a trusted senior advisor during the campaign and inside the White House, became the first member of the president's inner circle to face questions from congressional investigators as they probe Russian meddling in the 2016 election and possible links to the Trump campaign. He is to meet with lawmakers on the House Intelligence Committee Tuesday. Kushner's appearances have been highly anticipated, in part because of headlines in recent months about his interactions with Russians and because he had not personally responded to questions about an incomplete security clearance form and his conversations with foreigners. "I have shown today that I am willing to do so and will continue to cooperate as I have nothing to hide," he said in the statement. The document provides for the first time Kushner's own recollection of a meeting at Trump Tower with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. to talk about secure lines of communications and, months earlier, of a gathering with a Russian lawyer who was said to have damaging information to provide about Hillary Clinton. In the document, Kushner calls the June 2016 meeting at Trump Tower with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya such a waste of time that he asked his assistant to call him out of the gathering. Emails released this month show that the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., accepted the meeting with the idea that he would receive information as part of a Russian government effort to help Trump's campaign. But Kushner says he hadn't seen those emails until recently shown them by his lawyers. Sessions back in spotlight, fuming about the ongoing investigations into Russian meddling in the 2016 election and questions as to whether his campaign colluded with foreign officials. Trump again focused his ire on Sessions, who was once one of the president's closest allies. So why aren't the committees and investigators, and of course our beleaguered AG, looking into crooked Hillary's crimes and Russia relations? Trump tweeted Monday. His tweet came just hours before his son-in-law, White House senior advisor Jared Kushner, traveled to Capitol Hill to be interviewed about his meetings with Russians. During an event at the White House, Trump ignored a shouted question about whether Sessions should resign. The president's tweet about Sessions comes less than a week after Trump, in a New York Times interview, criticized Sessions for recusing himself from the Russia probe, saying he should never have taken the job as Attorney General. Sessions recused himself from the investigation earlier this year after it was revealed that he had met with a top Russian diplomat last year. The Attorney General said last week that he planned to stay in the post. Trump has seethed about Sessions' decision for months, viewing it as disloyal, arguably the most grievous offense in the president's mind, and resenting that the Attorney General did not give the White House a proper heads-up before making the announcement that he would recuse himself. Mueller not partisan. Ryan's comments in a radio interview in Milwaukee came as President Donald Trump repeatedly has dismissed Mueller's investigation as a political witch hunt. On The Jay Weber Show, Ryan was asked why more Republicans aren't defending Trump in light of the Mueller investigation. Ryan says the facts uncovered through the Mueller and congressional investigations will vindicate themselves. And he says there's no question that Mueller is a Republican, noting that he was first appointed FBI director under Republican President George W. Bush in 2001. Ryan says, "I don't think many people are saying Bob Mueller is a biased partisan. He's anything but." Back on camera, Anthony Scaramucci, the Wall Street financier who joined the administration last week, tweeted on Monday that the TV cameras are back on. Under Press Secretary Sean Spicer, who resigned over Scaramucci's new role, the daily press briefings had become must-see TV. But in recent weeks, Spicer moved into a more behind-the-scenes role, putting the briefings largely in the hands of his deputy, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who made them off-camera events. On Friday, Scaramucci accepted his new position at an on-camera briefing, and announced that Sanders will replace Spicer as press secretary. The last on-camera White House briefing prior to that was June 29. Scaramucci said that going forward, the briefings will be back on camera. "We're televising the briefings. We went to audio as an experiment and now we're back on audio and video," he said Monday. "I talked to the president about it this morning." Scaramucci said that if there was a reason to go off camera, he or Sanders would explain why.